in Jerusalem by the name of Saul. And Saul hated Christians. He hated Christians. And he'd find Christians and put them in jail. And he'd find Christians and beat them. And he'd find Christians and do all sorts of nasty stuff to it. And one day he looked to talk to his bosses and he said, hey, I know where there's Christians. There's Christians in this place called Damascus. Can I go to Damascus and get them? And leaders, Saul's bosses go, yeah, it'd be fun. So Saul's walking down to Damascus. Walking down to Damascus. And all of a sudden there's a bright light in the sky. And they all fall on their knees. And and Saul's there. And he says, who are you? And the bright light says, I'm Jesus whom you're persecuting. I'm going to teach you a lesson. And the light leaves. And Saul can't see. So they lead Saul into Damascus. And they sit down in Damascus. And he's staying in a house. Well, there's another one of the believers, one of the disciples, is in Damascus, a guy by the name of Ananias. And Ananias, God comes to Ananias and he says, Ananias, I want you to go to talk to a guy by the name of Saul over in this house. And Ananias says, God, he kills people for a living. Do you really want me to go? And God said, Ananias. Ananias goes, okay. So Ananias goes down to the house and he greets Saul and he says, Saul, God sent me to you because I know what happened to you. And it's God speaking to you and God wants to use you. This is a story called the conversion of Saul, otherwise named, his name is Paul, where God comes and God, through a miracle, God comes and Saul turns from being an enemy of God to being one of the greatest apostles and teachers there is. It's God coming and God working in his life. What God has done for us. God's come through his word and God works in our lives. So we believe in him, we trust in him, we call ourselves Christians because God is working in our lives too, even today. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you later.